Hello, everybody. Hey, it's me again, Margaret. Hey, for a number of reasons. Number one, last night did a Riff and Craft, got off on all sorts of tangents. Not the sort of thing I'm known for, certainly no. But yeah, I'm. Ooh, that's a good sign. Throat already seizing up. It just started. Anyway, but I didn't talk about a lot of things that I intended to, because reasons, purposes, etc. And because I forgot to, so things that I meant to talk about that happened in my week, and yeah, that's number one. Number two is that, I'm doing something different in my Minecraft. This is still the server, still the same deal, except for, I'm gonna do it differently this time. Anyway, let's do the theme song. This is Riff and Craft with your host, Rum Pemberton of the Clemson Pemberton. Don't look at what I do and don't have on my desktop. That's not the thing I meant to pull up. I meant to pull up this. Here we go.
This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has always been the theme. You know it's always been the theme. Don't act like it hasn't always constantly been the theme, because it has. Anyway, this is Riff and Craft, and I am Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons, and we are going to be playing in this here Badger World, same as we have been, except for, where are we now? We are in a completely different location. So what I done did is I went out and I just flung myself around in ways and oh, thanks for raining on me immediately. Oh, that feels amazing. Anyway, I just took what I had on me at the time, which is this. Well, some of it I picked up since being here. I just took what I had on me at the time and I left because, and this is going to seem rather petty, but someone was mining in my mine and I didn't like it. And also I don't know, like I put on my report card that does not play well with others. Yeah, I know. It was my idea to host a server for other people to play. Oh, God. Already molten stone already, huh? Anyway, hopefully it doesn't interfere too much, because I want to be able to mine here, because I think this is a really good spot. Anyway, so, yeah, like, it's been a real big pain in my neck that, I've been interfered with, and it made me, angry. And that's not how that should be. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in a boat. And I'm going to go around until I find a good spot. Another biome that I like, which that took a lot of sailing. The normal coordinates that I'm off by, about 2,500 blocks. Well, no, it's more than that. It's probably closer to 3,000 blocks from, depending on how you calculate that. But yeah, it's somewhere in the 2,500 to 3,000 block range off from where I was, because I don't play well with others, and I was starting to feel like, no. I was starting to feel not like... I didn't feel good where I was, so I was like, you know what? Let's just move it on. Move. Like, you don't like where you are? Move. It's Minecraft. It's not real life. It's not that hard to move. And so I did, as a matter of fact, leave a fairly large stack of diamonds behind, all my redstone, all my iron, which was considerable. We'll see if I go back for any of that stuff ever. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows? Who knows? Like, part of me really enjoys the idea of just abandoning all that stuff and starting all over again. You know, just freshening it up, like hitting the refresh button on the world and just doing what I want to do. Anyway, and like a sign that I may have placed outside my old mine might be very mean-spirited to whoever it was that was strip mining in a non-strip mine that they didn't start. Like, you got to understand that that's rude. Like, how do you not know that that's rude? You go into somebody else's mine, they're mining in it in a particular way, and you want to mine in it in a completely different way. First of all, don't mine in someone else's mine. Like, when you mine in someone else's mine, they are always going to feel, I don't have a bed. Wait, no, I do have a bed. Hold up. Real quick. I'll help you out. My daughter is in the game as well. She just hopped in. Anyway, boom. There we go. Anywho's, it's yeah, like mining in somebody else's mine, it like whatever resources you find, they are going to feel like you stole my resources. Like, I'm the one who dug down to this level. I'm the one who cleared all this out. You know, I would have gotten to those resources eventually. You stole them from me. And that's a very reasonable way to feel about it. And so, like, yeah, I don't want to, like, be angry with other people for taking my resources and whatnots. But, like, I am angry with people for having taken my resources. But rather than, like, you know, burn everyone's house to the ground or some nonsense like that, which I wouldn't do because people have worked very hard on things, and I don't know who did it. You know, there have been a few times where, like, someone that I don't even really know, like, who it is necessarily, gets in here and does things, and then, like, the rest of us are like, who was that? And what were they doing? And why? So, yeah, you don't always know. And I don't want to, like, accuse people or make it, like, I don't want this thing to get toxic, you know? Toxic, like, bullcrap that has been happening in my classroom lately. Oh, we got to talk about that for sure. So, yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat any of that because, like, okay, here's the deal. First of all, I started telling you about how my little sister and I went to the same college. We did, as a matter of fact, go to the same college. And it was fun to have my little sister there. It was fun for her to have her older brother there. It was a good time. We had a lot of the same friends. You know, we survived 9/11 together. Like, we had a lot of crazy experiences together. You know, and it really, like, that is, to this day, the bond that we share as brother and sisters, like, largely, because I was a bit of a turd older brother. Like, she was the younger sister who was like, you're cool, and I want to do what you're doing. And I would be like, could you please leave me and my friends alone? You know, like you do when, like, you're at that age where you don't, like, appreciate family as much as you're supposed to. You see family as kind of a drag, and what you should be realizing is, like, no, these are the people who are going to help you get through life, you know? And so, anyway, like, yeah, so my sister and I went to the same college, and the college dorms where we were staying, they were brand new at the time, and they were super nice at the time. I hear that people freaking hate living there now because of what it's turned into. Oh, this land is lower. Like, what's the, hold up. Oh, hello, more you. This mine is friendly so far. Enjoying it. But, yeah, let's get to the place. And here we go. And up. And I need stairs. Clearly, stairs are the best. Make some stairs, because... No, it's 64. I don't know why it feels so much lower. It just feels like I've gone down a lot faster in this particular mine. Anyway, so boop badoop badoop. Yeah, one of the things I noticed with my sister and her, oh, hello. And all of her room type mates, because the dorms were set up in communities. So like, there would be a common room that had like a TV and some counters and some cupboards and stuff, which were kind of pointless because you weren't supposed to like have any hot plates or cook anything in there, and like people would routinely get in trouble for doing stuff like that. So the cupboards and the like, because I don't even think there was a fridge. Like the communal area, it mostly had a telephone and a telephone, counter, couch, and TV. It was a pretty big room. Like, you could definitely throw a party in there, and a good one. But like, dorm regulations being what they were, like, even though I was totally friends with the RA because he was my best friend's little brother. Anyway, didn't matter. Still can't be throwing wild parties, especially not of the co-ed variety. But like, the cool thing about the towers is that they were co-ed dorms, just not like all of the rooms were single sex rooms, but all of the like and every community was, you know, male or female. But all of the oh, come on now. Still more iron though. That's pretty good. Yeah. So all of the communities were strictly male or female, but like in the same tower, like, so the community doors would be right next to each other. Actually, my sister's community door was right next, the door to her common room was right next to the door to my common room. And so like, her roommates, her community mates and stuff, and my community mates, like, we did a lot of stuff together. Like, we you know, we'd go down and eat breakfast together, stuff like that. As a group, you know, we'd hang out and whatnot. Some people dated other people in that group, which was usually disastrous and a terrible idea. But like, what was even more disastrous and a terrible idea is that, like, yes.
An Enderman just spawned in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
They do that. Anyway, my
Anyway,
daughter had an Enderman spawn in her mind. Hold up. Anyway, I just helped my daughter die in Minecraft. I'm a helpful father. Anyway, regardless. So, yeah, I thought she had a sword. She did not have a sword. I was not prepared for someone to not have a sword. Anyway, regardless. So anyway, yeah, like, we found out pretty quickly that, like, the girls' dorms were way more toxic than the boys' ones. Like, way, like, no contest. Like, the boys' dorms would be like, hey, bro, could you keep it down? And I'd be like, oh, sorry, bro, I didn't realize. That'd be, like, how toxic the boys' dorms were, and the girls' dorms would be like, I will scratch your freaking eyes out. You know, you looked at a guy that I called dibs on, and even though he doesn't realize I'm alive, I called dibs, and you know that. Like, that is the kind of stuff that was literally going on nonstop in my sister's dorm, right next door to like honest to God, two things that happened in the dorm was like, one was I watched a lot of hockey, and like people would come in and they would be like, what the frig is this? And I'd be like, it's hockey. And they'd be like, I don't know anything about this. And I'd be like, do you want to become a huge hockey fan all of a sudden? They'd be like, yeah, that sounds cool. And so they'd sit down with me and I'd explain some of the rules. And then pretty soon they're like, yeah, I'm all about this. Like, this is my thing now forever. Like, I don't know who that I converted to the Church of Hockey is still a fan, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of those guys aren't still like, you know, big old freak hockey fans. And that's how we did in the boys are. Also, like, one time I'm just watching TV and a Star Trek The Next Generation rerun comes on, and I'm like, heck yeah, I will watch this. And then there's this dude who, like, okay, if you looked up pretty boy in the dictionary, you would find this guy's face. He's a very pretty boy. He got gorgeous eyes. Like, you know those guys who just have, like, gorgeous eyes? Anyway, yeah, that's this guy. And so when you think, like, oh, pretty boy, he's not gonna have any interest in Star Trek The Next Generation. He comes in. Within 2 seconds, he realizes which episode it is, and he's like, oh, this is my freaking jam. We're watching this. And then every day, we just started watching The Next Generation together. Like, and like, having the nerdiest discussions about, like, you know, like, if Picard ever hit the dating game, obviously, I mean, this is a question that everybody has to ask, all right? You're Picard. You're freaking Picard, you know, who's a handsome freaking devil and, like, has the respect and the admiration of the entire ship. And, like, you know, there's a lot of beautiful women on board, but we know who we're talking about here. We know who we're talking about. Look, Tasha Yar didn't make it that far. Yeah, that's right. Denise Crosby, forget Bing's niece, unless I'm greatly mistaken. Anyway, regardless, this is the kind of conversations that we'd have. We'd be like, okay, Beverly Crusher, a lot of baggage there. Like he did, sort of was overseeing the mission that, like, resulted in the death of her husband. And there's not resentment there, but there's also, like, she gets that, you know, this is the burden of command, and, like, her son so looks up to Picard and whatnot, like, as he should. I mean, he's not wrong. That's right, Will Wheaton. You look up to Picard, as God intended. Anyway, so yeah, like, over in my dorm, this is what's happening. We were having very serious discussions about shows that had been off the air for, like, the better part of a decade at that point. And like, to look at both of us, like, everyone always thought I was a stoner in college. I was not. I hung out with a lot of skaters, and I hung out with a lot of stoners. And I basically dressed like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but, like, I was not myself a stoner. So anyway, which is still hard for people to believe. Like, people still have a difficult time being like, what, you not? Huh? That don't make no sense. Anyway, that's my dorm. My sister's dorm is freaking all drama all day. Okay. I kid you not. Here's a thing that actually happened that my sister caught hell over. Okay, so like, I needed to sew a button on my dress shirt. You know, as in choir and stuff, and like, you gotta wear a dress shirt. You gotta wear a nice white shirt. 'Cause like the performing arts were like huge at this college. Massive. Like even now, they got rid of their football team. They still have 3 choirs, you know, that are a huge draw. Like they sell out. They sell out like an 800 seat. Freaking. This is a small town too. It's a small town that barely has like a couple few thousand people in it, and they sell out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They sell out this large auditorium multiple nights in a row. It's like 3 night shows and a matinee, and they sell it out. It is packed. It is standing room only for choir. Hold up. My daughter wants to ask me things. Anyway, I decided to mine on level 12 this time. We'll see if that's a wild disappointment. Anyway, so obviously a thing that I learned in looking at the difference between like my dorm and my sister's dorm. Like my dorm, like we had guys in there. Like we had this dude from Ghana that like, okay, hold up. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully you're not picking up all the auditory distractions that are distracting me. And I'll just try not to be too distracted by everyone who's talking and doing other things around. Anyway, regardless. So my, I learned very quickly that like girls equal sign drama. And you would have thought that I would have known that, growing up with 5 sisters. Oh, hello, there's some lava. Except for, no, not really. Like, my sisters don't play that kind of drama. That's not their game. That's not how they do. And much respect to them for that, because like how many girls in the world are like, "Oh, drama, yes, please." Like I would like to hate on people that I barely know for like no reason. And you're like, "What why is this your approach to life?" And they're like, because. Yes, you totally acquired an enchanting table. Anyway. Confabulations. Anyway, this looks cavernous. Anyway, regardless. Yeah, this feels like it might result in my death or potentially my happiness. Okay. Oh, God. Nope. Frick no. Oh, God. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, God. What a terrible thing that was. That just happened. That was, well, I'm not happy with that outcome. Are you happy with that outcome? As if you are, you're a jerk. You're a real jerk. Look at things that happen to me and be like, haha, Schadenfreude. It's German for happiness. And it's like, no, it's not for happiness. It's for being a real jerk face is what it's for. Anyway, so yeah, like, I know that, like, for a lot of people, like, I spent a lot of my life around, you know, women who are, like, sane and who, like, don't be all about that drama. And some of you I know are like, wait, those exist? And I'm like, yeah, they totally do, and they're great, and I highly recommend. Like, I didn't know the other kind existed. Like, but then, so for instance, okay, I needed to sew a button on a dress shirt, right? So I ask in my sister's dorm, like I go in there, my little sister's not there. I figured she would have a needle and thread. She's not there, and nobody knows where she would have a needle and thread if she did have it. And I was like, oh man, I don't have to drive all the way into town and go to Walmart, freaking, support China just to get a needle and thread. Oh, did you not know Walmart is China? Like, sorry, America. Yeah, it was founded here, but like, where you think they get their stuff so cheap? China. Anyway, so the fact of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen, that so I, as a gentleman of reasonably sound mind, was like, hey, I would like to ask people who seem reasonably decent if they have needle and thread that I could borrow, and if so, I would like to borrow it and sew my button back on, please. And they were like, okay. And I was like, good, that's a good response. I can jibe with that. Your okay made me happy. Thank you. Right? So, oh, jeez. Oh, hit the zombie. Yes, that's my favorite. So a zombie and a skeleton are going to kill each other now. Yeah, I'm barely into my mind. I shouldn't be wandering caverns yet because I'll have a hard time recognizing my mind when it gets back. Anyway, so I shouldn't go too far is what I'm saying. I need to get back to my mind and just wait, that's not my mind. Need to get back, Jojo. And we'll see what we can do. Anyway, yeah, so I borrowed a needle and thread, super top dollar item. You can't get those just anywhere. You got to go specialty stores, spend upwards of 10, maybe 20 thousands of dollars just to freaking procure such magical, exotic freaking commodities such as needle and thread. Wow, what are we, the freaking Rockefellers buying up needles and thread? Ooh, Richie Rich over here. But yeah, so like needle and thread is no big deal. Anyway, I borrowed it. I borrowed needle and thread, and like, I didn't bring it back right away. Like, I had it. It was in my dorm room. I'm right next door, and I'm like, no rush. Like, she's not sewing something every day. It's gonna be fine. And like, it wasn't even a week. It wasn't even a week went by. You know what I'm saying? And it was, there were a couple times where I was like, oh, sorry, I meant to bring that over, forgot it. And, and she'd be all like, oh, that's okay. And I'm like, cool, thanks. I'll like I live right next door. I'll remember one of these times. And she's like, that's fine. And so I thought it was fine, because having like, comedians and whatnot will talk all about women like, oh, they lay traps for you, and you'd be like, how are you? They're like, fine, but they're not fine. And like, and the ridiculous thing is that like, I have never spent a lot of time around women who were like trying to lay traps, like that's not how that has, that is not how that has ever gone. Anyway, are you trying to tell me to sleep? Okay, well, fine. I'm starting a new mine, and it's full of terrors. Anyway, yeah, anyway. So, regardless, I've got this needle and thread for, like, longer than I intended, but not so long that you would be like, this fool is trying to steal from me, you know? Like, I wasn't ever like, you know, where she was like, hey, you got that needle and thread? And I'm like, what needle and thread? I don't know what you're talking about. You better check your records, you know? Like, there was never denial on my part as to whether or not needle and thread had ever been procured. And anyway, this girl, apparently, the one that I borrowed the needle and thread from, was giving my sister hell every day, every waking moment of every day. Like, oh, your brother, what the crap is he up to? Who does he think he is, stealing my needle and thread? And my sister's like, I've got needle and thread. I'll give you needle and thread. Like, and when he returns that one, I'll just take that one. It's no big deal, right? You know, because my sister's a very reasonable person. And this girl is like, no, it's not the same. And she's like, what? What is not the same? And she's like, this is from my first aid kit. And she's like, so? And the girl is like, the one that I got for college. And she's like, I am still failing to see the relevance. And she's like, if I lose the needle and thread that go with this first aid kit, I have to buy a whole new first aid kit, and they are not cheap. And my sister's like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't sound at all rational or reasonable. Like, what you're saying is what an insane person would say, and you should stop. Like, you are scaring the crap out of me, you insane person with your insane thoughts. And, yeah. Anyway, so it was a whole thing. It literally was a whole thing where, like, this girl was not telling me ever that she had any problem with me not remembering to bring the needle and thread back. And then, you know, and then was going up to my sister on a daily basis and be like, what's up with your family? Like, why are you so inherently rude that you won't respect other people's property? Oh, cool. Abandon mine and stuff. Okay. Sweet. No, it's just called an abandoned mine. That's all. Anyway. So, yeah, like, this was a whole thing. And and I'm realizing that, like, oh, geez. The girls who do be all about the drama do be all about the drama. Like, that's their defining characteristic. That is what they are known for, as a matter of fact. You know, it's like, it's their calling card. Like, hey, friend, what are you all about? The drama. I like to cause... Oh, axolotl. There you go. But they'd be like, I like to cause other people pain and grief and misery for, like, no frick reason. Yes. Anyway, so, not on me, but it's not going anywhere. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, here we are. Not very far into this mine, and it's a whole thing already. Anyway, so I will need to square off these walls and whatnot. So I at that point I became like, I always thought people were joking, like blowing it way out of proportion. This stuff about like girls acting crazy and driving you crazy with their craziness. I was like, haha, what a novel idea that any of them would actually be like what you're describing here. And then, like, you know, gentlemen of the world would be like, oh, you didn't know? You didn't know that that's really, really, really? And I'm like, nah, I grew up with, like, regular people who, like, have, you know, shame and a sense of, like, decorum and stuff, you know, not literal, actual shameless hussies, which is what I'm calling this one girl. Her name was Teresa, and she's a shameless hussy. Deal with it, Teresa. Prove me otherwise. Prove me wrong. Apologize to my freaking sister for, like, hounding her day after day and making her feel bad just because I didn't return a sewing kit, like, immediately. Really? Anyway. Yeah, prove me wrong. Go ahead. Go ahead. I would love it if you would go ahead. Quite frankly. So, anyway. Yeah. So that is where, like, that was my first introduction to the concept of girls being less than sane and less than kind, you know? Because, like, also the whole, like, vitriolic, like, backbiting, nagging, horrific, like, all the stuff you hear, like, all of the negative female stereotypes that you hear, I never really encountered them. Wait a minute. 64. Anyway. Anyway, regardless. But, yeah, I never encountered that kind of stuff until I was in college. That was like, oh, crazy does exist, and its name is Teresa, as she needs to calm the frick. Anyway, so yeah, these things are true and verifiable. Anyway, so that's why, like, with things that have gone down in recent weeks, like, I've just been like, yeah, I guess girls are like that. Like, I'm just very grateful that it doesn't seem to seep into my life too much, you know? Because I do see it with students, because students will come to me with stuff, and they'll be like, well, so-and-so said, and then they're doing this, and that's a whole thing, and now I want to punch them in the face, and, like, you know, it's, yeah. And I think I told the story of, like, wonky trick knee, and I told it to all my students multiple times. I don't know if I've told it on this channel, but, like, you know, how my knee went out in a very... No, I told that story in a very embarrassing way in a girl fight. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's girls fighting at all, there was a time in my life where I'd have been like, what? You know? How is this possible? Girls are so, you know, generally nice, you know, like all the ones I'm related to. Anyway, insanity. And so, yeah, here's the deal. Here's the crap that I get to deal with, is that, like, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This girl in my Bronx time. Now, let me preface this. Let me tell you a story about a fun thing I got to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, like, there was this girl in college who, like, she was freaking weird. Like, really freaking weird. And she... like, when you first meet her, you'd be like, oh, she's, like, not unattractive. She's, like, moderately okay. You know, and then she's very fun and outgoing seeming, and you're like, okay, maybe we could be friends with this girl. She seems fun. And, but then over time, she reveals herself to you, and you're like, oh, you're a nutcase. Like, I shouldn't spend any amount of time with you at all because you freaking drain people of their will to live. As a hobby, like, knowing that you're doing it and stuff, like, just the worst. And so, anyway, I guess I need some chestises, to be, yeah, to do that. Anyway, so regardless, the fact is this, Ugh. But anyway, yeah. So this girl, as it turns out, she just like talking crap all the time. This is like her favorite pastime. She's like, "Is the sun up? Well, then I'm talking crap about people that I ostensibly care about." You know, which is a terrible thing to do. Like, you know, you're gonna take the people that you care about and be like, haha, on you. Anyway, so yeah, this is how she be. Anyway, so yeah, this girl just like, you know, she just like to hurt people, you know, like you do as a pastime or hobby, where you're like, are you a person who's like good-hearted and nice and kind? Well, how this steak is bussin'. Oh my god, this freaking one. I need to build some freaking stairs is what I need to do. Anyway, so okay, guys, I'm a long way away from you. I'm nowhere near you. I left civilization. I'm thousands of blocks away. So if you're in the server, I'm thousands of blocks away from you. Anyway, so yeah, there's no helping me now. Anyway, so yeah, this girl, such trouble, such freaking pain in the neck. But then she started causing trouble for my sister, and I was not having any of this. Because like my sister didn't earn this. You know, my sister, because as I told you, she's not the variety that's like, ooh, yay, drama. You know, she's more the variety that's like, what the frick? Why is there drama all of a sudden? Like, I was just standing here minding my own business, and now there's drama? What the crap? You know, she be that variety, which they do exist. They totally do. I like, to the point where I didn't know that they were rare. So maybe they're not. Ooh, village. Yeah, I knew there'd be a village because of proximity. I'll explore that at some point. I'm not too incredibly excited, even though like I've been looking for village this whole time. But right now I have a different mission, so like maybe don't bother me about it. I gotta build chestises and stuff and have woodises. Anyway, so my sister like lived with this terrible girl in her dorm, and this terrible girl like she was doing this terrible thing where like she was constantly like, if you've ever studied the life of is it Benjamin Franklin, I'm pretty sure, who thought that he could no, was it Franklin? Who was it? It was some American figure. Might have been Franklin. Might have been someone else, but who thought that they could literally reach perfection in life, and thought that by, you know, keeping to a list of items that they had set out for themselves, that they could actually attain perfection while in, you know, while still being a living, breathing human, which seems like a lot, you know. Like most of us are barely getting by, and the idea of like attaining any sort of perfection in life, that seems absurd. But yeah, so this, like, let's just say it was Benjamin Franklin, makes it easier for me. So Benjamin Franklin really thought that he could attain this, and he really worked at it. And then he wrote about it in his autobiography. And when he was writing about it, he was like, no, like, people thought I was joking. I was not joking. Like, I really thought that I could perfect myself. And he's like, But the funny thing was that I, did better in that year in all aspects of my life than in any other single year. So like that concerted effort really made the difference in a number of ways, and did not result in him becoming the embodiment of perfection, but like in fact resulted in him being happier and just better in various ways, which is good. Good on you, Mr. Franklin. Anyways, so this girl thought that she could play a similar game. Wait, I need to like build myself a path from my village to wait, kitty, don't be like clawing my monitor and stuff. This is bullcrap. Got kitties in behind. I've got 2 kitties behind my monitor, and I'm so frustrated by that. They are fully grown. They are not kittens. Oh, wait, what? Is this not capturing correctly? For a moment, it looked like it was not capturing correctly and that I was just talking and that nothing was happening properly on my screen. Anyway, okay, roughly that wordly is a village. And if we were to construct... Oh, no, I have a shovel. I have an iron shovel. So... let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Village. Okay. So I'm just going to build a road real quick from the village to my mine and stuff. Yeah, right through this little area right here. All right. We'll do it to it. I mean, obviously, this is a pretty close village. I'm not going to lose it. But I do want to make sure that I mark it. Hello, peasant. Anyway. Okay. Oh, that's because I have an axe. Okay, there we go. Bruh. Don't worry about it. Like, it's very normal. I'm just gonna, like... I'll probably get a decent amount of seeds this way, so that's good. So I didn't bring any seeds with me. Of course, it's a village, so I could probably get seeds and stuff here. Regardless, I'm making my own way. I'm pioneering. Establishing a new place. Anyway. So, yeah, like, this girl that was in, that was in my sister's dorm really started causing trouble for everybody. She started just talking such crap about everybody in our friend group, and like especially talking crap about my sister. And she started this rumor about my sister, that my sister was living in sin. And like, I come from a very religious family, and there ain't no way that my little sister was doing anything of the sort. Just not even a possibility. And everybody knew it, except for like this girl just was talking so much crap. And so I pulled her aside, and I told her, like, and the funny thing is that like she had a little bit of a crush on me. And so this guy that she has a little bit of a crush on pulls her aside and is like, hey, you're wrecking the lives of everyone I care about. I need you to stop. We all hate you and wish you would shut up. Are you going to shut up, or am I going to have to make you shut up? Because I will find a way. And, and that made her cry and be like, I'm trying to be a good person. And I'd be like, well, you're being a terrible person. Look in the freaking mirror, see what you've done. And like, I had no sympathy for her. She's like bawling and shaking. And I'm like, no, like, this is how you made my sister feel. So like, I have no sympathy for you, you piece of crap. Like, maybe next time don't freaking get involved with my family and accuse people in my family of like whoring around and stuff when they clearly were doing nothing of the sort. Like, anyway, so yeah, like, had that whole conversation and it made her very, oh geez. Wait, where are you coming from? And why am I on fire? And what? How is it still sunlight enough for you to be... Where did you come from? Down here. Down in a cave. Yeah, we're going to bypass right by a cave. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my mind, go back to my bed, sleep it off, and then come back and hit it in the morning. But anyway... So, yeah, I talked to this girl and I laid it down for her and I was like, this is the kind of person you're being and it's bullcrap. And everybody hates you and we will continue to hate you until you fix it, And that's not what people want to hear about themselves. It's not what they want to hear about their lives, but sometimes they need to know. And so I had a student... in my homeroom who like had been friends with one of the other students from my homeroom, like the one I may have mentioned where I didn't see her at all as a sophomore because she wasn't here as a sophomore. She was distance learning. And so anyway, yeah. Oh, I only needed 4 of them. I don't know why my brain was like, yes, make 8 of them. Anyway, so, yeah, I didn't see her at all, and then she came back, and I was very excited, very happy to see her, and to have her back in our midst. It was lovely. Anyway, so... Oh, yeah, let me sleep it off. So, yeah. Anyway, when she gets back, when this girl gets back, I get told very quickly, I was like, hey, there's this other girl that is in your homeroom who has been, like, super close friends with the girl that we hadn't seen since sophomore year. And that whenever we talked about this girl that we hadn't seen since sophomore year, like, she's just... the sweetest and nicest. Like, she's just a good freaking kid. Like, one of those good kids that you're like, I enjoy that I get to be around you as part of my job because you're such a thoroughly good person. It's like a reward that I get to hang out with you at all, because some kids do be like that, where you're like, man, your life is going to be all right because, like, people... recognize the quality that you bring as an individual and like that is going to go well for you in life. This is a good thing to feel about people. Anyway, so yeah, this girl that we all really enjoy so very much, she comes back. There's kitties are being ridiculous. One of the kitties just emerged from behind my computer, and yeah, now I'm down to 1. Anyway, so yeah. Wait, what was I doing up top? I forget. I was doing something. Oh, right, I was building a road. Anyway, so yeah, like, this, I should take some of that cobbled stone and build some stairs. I swear to God. So I can't live like this. Anywho, so yeah, this kid that finally came back, we were all happy, we're all excited, and then it turns out that the one who had been her friend for a long time, like, had alienated everybody and pissed everybody off, to the point where, like, she was pissing off people that I had never seen get pissed off at anyone for any reason ever. You know, some of the, like, most kind-hearted, gentle people that I've ever had pass through my classroom were like, screw that girl, I'm done with her nonsense. You know, and so it really makes you wonder what had gone on. Well, here's what went on. Oh, I think I mentioned this briefly, because it's been a perpetual source of bullcrapitude. So, like, Snapchat. Is there a worse thing in the world? All it's for is a waste of time, and like, if you're not wasting time on there, you are either bullying or being bullied. That's it. That's all the app does. It's like, ooh, yeah, you can waste your freaking time. You can bully. You can be bullied. That's it. That is the service in its entirety. It does nothing else. And I guarantee you, ask a teacher, ask a principal at any school in the nation, if they could ban Snapchat, would they do it? I guarantee you 100% of them will say yes. And it's not because, I mean, part of it is because of this whole generational gap thing where people like me look at, you know, the lives of people much younger than me and say, like, boy, your lives are pathetic and sad because you're addicted to phones. And I'm sorry that we did that to you, because we, like, my generation legitimately made that happen to you. But, like, never you mind. It's like, we did it, and it's not great, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna need another, like, 2 shovels, so let's make that happen. Anyway, so yeah, this girl was talking a lot of crap on Snapchat, and oh yeah, I was like, where did I get diamonds? I haven't done the village yet, but it's because I found a desert temple. Not a very good one. It was actually a really disappointing desert temple. Most of the stuff they had in there were like spider's eyes and stuff. And like, really? Go through all this trouble. You guys just a bunch of spider's eyes. Like, wow. I'm so impressed and glad that I went in here. Anyway, regardless. Wait, hold up. I think it would be best if I just, instead of like edging my way over, if I just went straight and just like plowed my way through the mountain. Anyway, so yeah, like, oh geez, this is gonna be taller than I thought. Oh, it is gonna be taller than I thought. Anyway, so yeah, like, so yeah, one of my students just was talking crap about everybody else that they had ostensibly been friends with, and it seemed to be coming out of nowhere. They're just talking a lot of crap for like no freaking reason, and it's really pissing people off, and it's really hurting people. And so the girl who's so lovely and nice that we didn't see since she was a sophomore, like, she was like, I'm done. She's like, I have never done this before to anyone. I've never ever had a let's never be friends ever again talk with anyone, but you just earn yourself a special distinction of being the first person ever that I've ever had to be like, we cannot be friends because you are terrible. And, you know, and so like, this girl, like I get cornered by, you know, the really super nice one and another really nice kid from my Bronx time, and the other really nice kid was like, I might have to fight this girl. And she's like, I don't want to have to fight her because, like, I'm in your honors class now, and I'm trying to get serious about my life and about my future. And, like, I don't want to, like, end up with an assault charge. And I'm like, first of all, I'm so glad that you recognize that. It means that you're going to be fine. There's got to be some sort of jobby spawner down there because these guys are coming out on fire, but frequently with, anyway, regardless. Anyway, so, yeah. So all of a sudden, we have a situation where people have to do the whole, like, we're not friends anymore thing, which, like, you know, for the girl who did it, like, she's very much more like girls that I had known previously in my life who were, like, cool, you know, like, not trouble. And so, anyway, yeah, so basically, I got everybody to agree under a scenario in which, like, everybody acknowledged that it was best if everybody just stayed the frick away from each other, even though they had to be together in my classroom for half an hour a day. You know, like, we just agreed, like, you sit on this side, they'll sit on that side, and you just don't even freaking look at each other, and it'll be fine. Like, it won't be ideal, but y'all only have a year and a half left of school, so, like, if you can't get through a year and a half of school, just agreeing to not start crap with, you know, with people, then, you know, maybe you have more problems than I realized. So, anyway, we'd been enjoying this uneasy peace for a little bit when, you know, a girl comes up to me again and is like, she's doing it again. You know, she's talking crap when she shouldn't be talking crap, and I'm tired of it. And, like, you know, the girl who's telling me this is someone who, like, has ongoing family troubles and stuff, and, like, things are not super easy for her right now, you know, and so she's not looking for trouble at all. You know, she's not even a little bit. And so the fact that she's coming to me and being like, hey, this is what's happening, and it is a serious problem, and we've got to nip this in the bud. I'm like, yeah, we do. And so I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to pull this other girl aside, and I'm going to tell her what's what. And my frame of reference for doing this was the time when I went to that girl who was in my little sister's dorm, and she was talking so much crap and starting so much crap with so many people, and I just said what needed to be said and just let her cry, and just chose to be unaffected by her crying and just be like, hey, these are the results of your actions. And no amount of crying on your part is going to absolve you from the crap that you have pulled. So either get your life in order or get the frick out. Like, stay away from these people and continue to be terrible, or try and turn it around because you're being terrible and everybody thinks so. And everybody agrees that that's what you're being. Anyway. So, yeah. So I pull this student aside, and I'm like, hey, here's what's happening. And I told her, I was like, hey, she's like, oh, people are lying. And I was like, I don't think so. It's like you can tell me your version of events someday, but not right now, because right now, oh my god, how did slime that big get started in too small of an area for a slime? Anyway, regardless, but like, but I told her, I was like, if I thought people were just talking crap about you, then we would not be having this conversation. Because, like, people talk crap. That's the thing that happens. It's part of high school. And, like, I would not waste your time and waste my time by being like, people have said something that's not true. Like, that would be a complete waste of time. And I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, you have pissed off people who don't get pissed off. Like, you have alienated people who were trying actively to be on your side, and you somehow managed to push them away. It was like, I need you to think about what it is that you've done and how it is that you've affected people. And I was like, you could tell me that you're not doing it, but I'm being told by people who don't make up crap that you are in fact doing it. And so I need you to stop. And if you don't stop, then it's going to be a whole lot of trouble, because I'm sending this up the line. Because, you know, like, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the principal's office, and, you know, you're going to be staring down the barrel, because, like, if even a portion of what they're telling me is true, which, by the way, here's the thing that like, adults who haven't been in a school for a minute, here's what students do to each other now. It's called suicide baiting, and it's the bullest of craps. Just people, like, I know that, like, back in our day, people used to do the, like, I'll kill myself if we're not together, but it was, like, always some douchebag in an extreme case, and you knew he wasn't gonna do it. Like, but nowadays, all these wildly emotionally unstable kids being like, I will kill myself. I have a plan and a means to carry it out. And you'll be like, dang. And they'll be like, psych, you're a little punk. I punked you out, punk. And you're like, why are you doing this? What is being gained? Anyway. But they really pull this on each other all the time. Suicide baiting, it's a whole thing. 1, 2, 5, 6. Yeah. And I wish it weren't, but it's the thing. That's just one of the things that this girl was allegedly pulling. And so I told her, and I was like, and you need to cut it out. And I was like, you will find yourself in a situation very soon where you have no friends left, where no one is willing to associate with you at all because of how toxic you have become. And she just starts bawling, and she just starts shaking. And I was like, hey, know this, like, because, like, this is a student that I have really actually liked. And so it was shocking to me to find out that she's pulling this crap. Like, it really was. And so I told her, I was like, you have never been anything but kind to me. I don't have a bad word to say against you, but I am not everyone. And apparently everyone else has a thing or two, has a bone to pick. And she, you know, and she's like, yeah, well, people just hate me and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but they didn't used to. Like, I think we can all agree that, like, you have changed in various perceptible and imperceptible ways. And it seems like you're making terrible choices. And we'd all prefer it if you stopped making such terrible choices. You know, you just gotta tell a kid that, like, up front, and just be like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but we think you're being awful to people, and I happen to like the people that you're being awful to, so cut it the frick out. You know, it's a conversation that, like, quite frankly, there are a lot of people in this world who might need a conversation like that, might need someone to pull them aside and be like, why are you being terrible? you know. And so, anyway, the thing was that, yeah, she cried and everything. And then one student out of my entire class, because the rest of the class was like, oh, he must have had that talk with her. Like, literally, that's immediately what they thought. They didn't think, like, oh, no, something terrible must have happened in her family or something. Like, nope. Every single one of them was like, oh, I bet he had that talk that somebody needed to have with her for, like, the longest time. And, and so I mean, I did precisely that. I did exactly that. And then I thought it was over, you know, and she started getting her grades up, and it seemed like it was going okay. Then she started dating the ex-boyfriend of another one of my students, and I was like, oh, jeez. Like, are you just trying to start crap? But, you know, even that, she didn't seem like she was making too much of a fuss. And I was like, well, maybe I don't know what's going on, and maybe I'm not, you know, like, maybe I shouldn't judge too quickly and whatnot. And you know, obviously she is one of my students, and so I care about her just like I care about any of the rest of my students. And so oh my God, this is potentially vast and full of iron. Anyway. Wow. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, the one student in my class who on that day when I came out and told her, like, you are hurting people and you need to stop. And when she's like, I'm not though, and I was like, sorry, I have it on too many sources and too many reliable sources to believe you. Oh, frick. Oh, it's a skeleton spawner. Oh, God. Get out. Get out. Hide. Maybe they'll fight each other for a second. No, I put torches on the spawner, so I'm good.
Oh, neat.
Yep. And I get 2 chestises. Oh, come here. Okay. All right. Okay.
Place a torch on the top.
That's fine. Ooh, good. I got some good things. Gold horse armor. Who needs it? Not I. Certainly not I. But I will take these other things. Melon seeds. That's fun. Gunpowder. Sure. String. Sure. Why not? Give me something good. Redstone. String.
Not that much.
Bone. Yeah, I've already got iron horse armor. I left, like, one of the things I left behind was a horse with diamond armor. Anyway. Sweet. Yeah, I was not expecting... I thought there would be a spawner in here, but I did not expect... skeleton, because there were too many zombies coming out of this hole in the ground. Anyway, so yes, I pulled my student aside. I had the difficult talk. I told her, like, hey, you're hurting people. You need to cut it out. And she cried, and I, you know, gave her very little reassurance. You know, I told her, like, hey, I still think you're a good person, you know, but you do have some things that you need to work on. And, you know, like, that's true. She did legitimately have things she needed to work on. So, like, I was being honest, but I was also being forthright, as I should have been, you know. So, anyway, yeah, so, anyway, I thought it was all over with. I thought, like, yeah, I've had this conversation with this girl. She understands that, like, You're not going to be friends with these other girls anymore. They don't want to be friends with you because of what you've done. And, like, you're still going to have some friends, and that's fine. That's good. Cling to the ones that you have. Leave behind the ones that you've lost. And just be cool about it, you know? And that's how I thought we were leaving things, right? Well, then, you know, oh, geez, I'm, like, practically dead. Then I get told that, like, hey, guess what? She's doing it again, and it's a problem. Then I or no, that was in response to that. No. This is a different thing. Move on, dingus. Get your brain in the right position. So, after all that, I send her out for a walk. I'm like, just go for a walk. Like, just take a quick lap around the building or something. And then, you know, come back when you're feeling a little bit better. And she does. And she comes back in, and she's still, like, shaking and crying. And there was one student, one, and only one, who was, like, who came over and hugged her. And not only hugged her, but, like, asked permission. Was like, can I hug you? I want to hug you. Can I hug you? And she, like, tearfully said yes. This other student hugged her and held her and told her that everything was going to be okay. Was very sweet and kind and nice. As good a person and as good a friend as you could ever hope to have in any circumstance in your life ever. Right? So, son of a... freaking creepers. God dang it. Like, so tired. They're bullcrap. Ooh, talking about you. You're bullcrap. Yeah. Anyway. So, like... So yeah, she has this one friend who has stood by her and who has said, I still believe you're a good person in spite of everything that's been said, and I'm willing to stand by you, and I'm willing to support you emotionally in your on what has become for you a very bad day, because you had to have an adult man pull you aside and say, hey, take a hard look at how you're wrecking your own life and the lives of everyone around you, because that's basically what I told her, you know. And so this one friend who held her and stuck by her, the funny thing about her is that she has actively tried to not take sides in this whole thing, because she is friends with both girls. She's friends with, you know, both the one that was like, I'm feeling like I'm going to have to fight this girl, and I don't want to fight this girl because I'm trying to make better choices in my life, and I'm in your honors class now, so please help me to not fight her by, like, helping make this situation any better. And I was like, okay, we can do that. That's the thing we can do. And anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so the student who hugged the one that I said you're being terrible to everyone who cares about you, yeah, that one, who is such a good friend. Anyway, so just one day this week, she went and sat with the other girls, you know, with the ones that had been wronged in this whole thing, who had crap talked about them and, like, you know, stuff done to them, like, and had been suicide baited, according to what I've been told, and all of this stuff. And so yeah, so this girl who had been so good and so kind, she decides to go and just for a day go sit with her other friends, because she likes to be friends with everybody. Like, she had a particularly rough quarantine, and she doesn't have the best home life. And so, like, having friends and being cool with people is, like, very important to her. And so, like, she takes it very seriously, the role of being a friend and having friends and the value of her friendships. Like, she does not mess around with those things because they're very precious to her. And so, yeah, she goes to sit with her other friends. Why? Because she likes them, and she has a right to like them. If she likes them, it's fine. Who gives a crap, right? Well, who gives a crap? I bet you could probably guess. The girl who had started all of this crap in the first place has a problem with this. And very cold-heartedly, just basically, so one day, this girl who was so kind and nice and such a good and true friend, she went and sat with her other friends, and then the next day she was back with the girl who had talked so much crap, but that she had calmed and comforted in her time of need, right? Because she is signaling to everybody, like, I'm here, I'm friends with everybody, I'm cool, I'm going to be in the middle, like, I don't want to pick sides, don't make me pick sides, as long as everybody can be cool, I'm not going to have to pick sides. And then this other girl is like, hey, why don't you go sit with your new besties, like that. And it's like, why are you being such a jerk about this? Like, it is possible for people to have friends who don't all necessarily get along with each other. And, like, when you're a very friendly person, that might happen rather a lot. And so, like, it ain't no thing. Like, just understand that people do be like that. And, yeah, she had a problem with that. She had a serious problem with that, and she wouldn't let it freaking go. And, anyway. And it was ridiculous and troubling, and it made us all upset, and it made us deal with some bull crap that we shouldn't have to deal with. And the girl who had, you know, hugged this other girl and helped her in one of her most trying times, who was just trying to be a good friend, and indeed had been a better friend than perhaps was deserved at that time. No, not perhaps. She just was. She was a better friend than the other girl deserved. That's a fact. We could say that with 100% assurity now. That is factually accurate. She was just a better friend. Sorry, like, you want to prove me wrong? Other girl, if you ever listen to this and you're like, hey, he's talking about me. Prove me wrong. Show me that you're a better friend. But anyway, like, what she told me when I pulled her aside, it was like, hey, you really hurt this girl, and I think you owe her an explanation because she was the only one who stood by you. Like, the rest of the class knew what I was on about, and they were like, oh, he's talking with this girl about what a, you know, piece of work she's been. Good. It's about time somebody did that. Like, that's how the rest of the class felt about it. This one girl was like, I will be your friend. I will be there for you when you actually need help. And then now you've turned your back on this girl. And I was like, I think she needs an explanation. And she's like, yeah, well, she should have known better than to be friends with me in the first place. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? So it was like, even you deserve friends. And I even said it like that, like, even you know, like, but yeah, like, but I was baffled. I was like, why are you like this right now? I was like, you deserve to have friends. You can have friends, you know? And she's like, yeah, I don't want to be associated with anyone who would be associated with them. And I'm like, okay, fine. God, vicious. Wow. Like, holy crap. But, like, to do that in so short a time is a matter of, like, 2-3 days. 2 or 3 days. She goes from like receiving comfort from this girl to like being just terrible to her. And there's no freaking reason for that. This is bullcrap. Anyway, so yeah, I was dealing with that whole situation because it meant that like multiple times this week I just had crying girls in my classroom that I had to like help with personal matters that were all like highly unnecessary, by the way, like highly unnecessary. And it's not that like I think that these girls are dumb or anything. It's just that like you caused trouble where no trouble needed to be caused. Like, let's all agree on that. That's very clear. We had a situation in which there was no trouble, and then you went and made it trouble. So let's see that for what it is. Let's acknowledge it, and let's assign blame as needed. Oh, hello. That's weird to just have one of yous hanging around. Okay, I need to get back to my bed. There's a lot of caves and stuff, which is fun. So we'll have a lot to do in this area, and I'll get to establish my own little everything. My own little outpost of semi-humanity. Anyway, yeah, so dealing with that situation was so frustrating. Because so much of it was happening when I had like, I've got a meeting right now, I've got class right now, I've got things I've got to take care of, and I'm having to take care of the emotional well-being of people who, if everyone had just not been a turd about this, then, well, no, let's be very clear. If one very specific person had not been a turd about all of this, then it would have never been a problem for me in the first place. And the thing about it is, like, to this day, the person who caused all this drama has never been unkind to me for a single second, has never been anything but lovely to me. And so it's still baffling to be like, oh, you're the cause of all this? This is on you? Like, you made this happen? Yeesh. Yeesh indeed, people. Yeesh indeed. Because that is the current state of affairs. Very much so. Anyway, yeah, so that's the first thing that I had to deal with this week that was really a pain in the neck. The second thing is that at the time, I was really blindsided by something that happened this week in my classroom. So, like, there are many different kinds of teachers, and different teachers will have varying levels of effectiveness. Like, students who respond to one teacher might not respond to another. You never know, but like, in general, every teacher has like the type of students that they are good at reaching, and they can reach them and be like good and a support, and like that be what that student very specifically needs. Okay, let's get up here before the freaking creepers explode everything that I care about. Anyway, so yes, that's the thing. So I had to deal with that, and then and it made me angrier than I care to admit, just because, like, this is my third year that I've had with these students. I've had them for a while. I thought I knew them. I thought I understood them. And when I'm telling you that this one girl pissed off people who don't get pissed off, I'm not joking. Like, imagine the most immovable, mild-mannered people in the world. Like, just the chillest freaking people you can imagine. The chillest. That's who she pissed off. the chillest. Those who just, like, imagine the chillest person you know, and then imagine them pissed off, and that's what she did. Like, basically magic how she pulled that off, but, like, not good magic, not at all. Anyway, why are all these trees stuck together? It's pissing me off. Anyway, I might just have to clear the branches manually. Anyway, so yeah, that was a pain in the neck to deal with. The other thing that was a real pain in the neck to deal with is that right before my second hour, one day this week, I had one of my freshmen come up and was like, "Hey, don't worry, I went to bat for you today." And I was like, "Oh," and I have students tell me things like that from time to time where they're like, "Hey, some students were saying like, oh, this guy not that good," and I was like, "No, his classes are the bomb," or whatever, like, because students will occasionally do that, and it's lovely. It's not everything, but it is a lovely thing to have happen, to have a student stand up for you against their peers. It's a lovely thing that does happen from time to time. I mean, obviously, ultimately, you wish their peers didn't have crap to say, but you're not going to please everybody. And any teacher knows that. Like, some of the students that other teachers are going to be like, "Oh, that's my favorite kid. Like, we get along so well." There will be some other teacher who's like, "That freaking turd, like, I couldn't do anything with him." And that's just the way it goes. Is the nature of teaching. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't know what was going on at first. The student was like, "Oh yeah, I got hauled into the principal's office to answer questions about things that you said in class." And I was like, "Oh no." And I don't say "oh no" because I think that I say terrible things in class. I'm actually quite careful. But I also know that, like, there are things that I will, like, I make it a point to be honest with my students, and sometimes that includes talking about things that other teachers, or answering questions that other teachers won't answer. So, like, it's part of my calling card as a teacher. I take it seriously, and I try to be as good as I can be to the students that I have. Anyway, so I'm worried about what is being reported to, like, there are two types of teachers in the world, and frankly, I don't understand the other kind. And also, I don't know if this artificial division that I'm about to create is true or not, but let's pretend that it is. So, two types of teachers: those who are like, "Oh, I'd love to get admin into my classroom more and have them see more of what I do and, like, get a better sense and give me feedback more on the day-to-day." Now, we were told that this type of teacher exists because we were told that, like, that some of our colleagues said this in a meeting where admin was like, "What do you want to hear what do you want to hear more back from us on?" And that was one of the things that they said they got. But then, like, one of my colleagues went through and asked almost all the teachers, and none of them said, like, "Oh yeah, that was me. I totally said come into my classroom more." Anyway, that may or may not be made up. But anyway, so yeah, I just, I'm one of those teachers who, I don't have ambition for, like, I don't want to be the department chair. I don't want to be on, committees and whatnot. Like, I want to run my clubs. I want to help my students. I want to teach my honors kids in the way that I want to teach them. And I prefer to not have a lot of interference from anybody getting in the way, Not that I'm doing anything I shouldn't, but because, like, you don't want anybody, like, second guessing every little move that you make. You don't want to be micromanaged. Nobody wants to be micromanaged. which is why it makes me think that the second type of teacher might not actually exist, not even in our district. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, getting hauled into the principal's office, or knowing that your students are getting hauled in one by one, and he literally talked to every member of the class, every single person in the class, talked to all of them, and he and so when we were talking about it, there were things where I was like, I don't remember it being like that. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, because I didn't. And anyway, regardless, so here's what it was, and you can feel about this however you want. You know, I've talked to multiple people about it, and there have been people who have been like, well, you can see why they might have reported it if they didn't understand your intent. And I'm like, I told them that I was being sarcastic. Like, I clearly explained, like, hey, do not mistake this part of what I am saying. I am being sarcastic there. What I really mean is the exact opposite of this, because clearly I am not a psychopath who thinks that, you know. Anyway, so let's talk about what it was that I had talked about that was so terrible. It was two things, and one more than the other. And even then, I don't agree with the one that they were more upset about. I think it's dumb, quite frankly. But yeah, you don't control what people get upset about. And I hate that we have this culture where it's like, oh, someone's offended by something that you said. Well, then they're automatically right and you're automatically wrong because they're the one who's offended. Like, the offended person always right, and you always have to apologize to the offended person. No, that's bullcrap. This is bullcrap. This is not how the world operates. This is not how truth works. This is not how fact works. It's not how anything works. And so, like, yeah, no. I will not have it. Like, I'm sorry. Will not have it. Anyway. So, okay. On the day of the fight, I was pretty pissed off. Why? Because I got injured in a really stupid way and made me feel old and useless and terrible. And so that's not good. And I'll tell you, like, every freaking time there's a fight that makes my fourth hour say, ooh, let's not learn, let's talk about the fight instead, I will take what teachers call a teachable moment, and I will talk to them about the fight, but not in the way that they think it's going to happen. What I talk about is the futility of violence, because it truly is futile and stupid, you know, because there are two things that cause, this is basically the spiel that I gave them. There are two things that cause people to fight on our campus. Number one is I heard you were talking crap about me. That is number one. And number two is I heard you were looking at my girl, or I caught you looking at my girl. That is, or looking at my man, whatever, depending on who's fighting. But those are the two types of fights that we see the most of. And they're pointless and stupid and worthless, and there's no reason why anyone should take any of them seriously. They are awful and dumb. And when you fight at high school, like, you can end up with freaking assault charges on your record. Like, it stops being a little game for little kids and starts being real actual life with real actual stakes involved. And so these are things that I tell my students. Tell them that, like, hey, Because I not only knew that there were police on campus, I saw the police and I talked with the police, and one of them let slip that one of the girls involved in that fight was looking at potential jail time, like adult-style jail time, for her assault that she had committed against this other student for dumb freaking reasons. Dumb reasons. Anyway, so, yeah. I was like, okay, how do you get teenagers to stop being attracted to each other? And they're like, I don't know if you can. And I'm like, exactly, you can't. You can't. I was like, okay, how do you get someone to stop talking crap about you if they're talking crap? And they're like, oh, easy. You punch them in the face. I was like, aha, you stupid freshmen. They are freshmen. And some of them have dumb ideas about the world. I do happen to like this freshman class, although they do have some of the classic freshman foibles and flaws. I could tell, like, freshmen is a problem because you can't treat them like people. You have to treat them like entities that may someday be people, but are not people now, and you cannot treat them like people now, otherwise they will eat you alive. And anyone who's ever taught freshmen will recognize the truth in what I am saying right now. And it's not that you disrespect them, it's not that you discount their lived experience or anything of the sort. It's that you recognize that if you treat them like upperclassmen and give them the latitude to behave, to be as unfettered as upperclassmen, you realize, like, no, these people need to be hobbled. They need to be actively hobbled so that we can avoid their worst tendencies, like save them from themselves to a certain degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, and like, I don't like that that's a fact, but it is. You can't stop it from being one, because it is. Anyway. Boom. So, yeah. The fact of the matter is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, yeah. So, these freshmen, like, I have had an interesting semester with so far, because, like, I was starting to feel like I'm getting to know them, like I'm getting to build a decent relationship with them, and I feel like they're starting to get me, because I'm a bit of an odd duck. I get it. I'm not, I'm not like most people that you meet. I'm a bit of a strange fellow. That's unavoidable, and so it does take. There's a learning curve just on getting to know how to handle me in the classroom, and I felt like they were starting to get it, and then that idea was betrayed. And as a matter of fact, I felt betrayed when they went to the principal's office to complain about things that I had said in class. So the first thing was, I was in the middle of explaining, it was about the fight, where it was like, yeah, you can't stop teenagers from being attracted to each other. Okay, God. Yeah, you can't stop teenagers from being attracted to one another. Not even if you punch them. You like, even if you punch them in the, areas most responsible for the attraction in the first place, you're still not going to completely avoid the attraction that teenagers have for each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. And we all agreed on this. The next point they did not want to agree on quite so handily. So it was like, yeah, if somebody's talking crap, how do you solve it? And they said you punch them in the head. And I was like, how about no? That's a terrible idea, because that doesn't solve anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it very conspicuously does not solve anything in very obvious ways. Like, how do you end up not solving anything if you punch someone in the head? Well, they might lose a fight and they might lose face in front of the whole school, but you've also made them angrier than they were before. And so their likelihood that they're going to talk crap has just gone up, not down. And my students were grumbling, and I was like, okay, how about the fact that the girls who fought today, this was like their fourth fight, like, and I shared examples of primarily girls, because that's who does a large portion of the fighting at our school. It's stupid. Wish that it were not so, but it's so. And anyway, I told them, like, yeah, you cannot stop people from talking crap. You can't. You cannot control other people. And if you want to have a decent outcome, your best bet is diplomacy. Your best bet is talking it out. And it's like, I know that you don't get that rush that you get from fighting, where, fighting, you're like, oh, this fool is causing problems. I will solve these problems with my fists. You really feel like you're actually doing something when you're fighting, but you're not. You are not, especially when you're fighting somebody because you feel like they were talking crap. Anyway, so I tell them, you cannot stop someone from fighting crap. And then I make the fatal error. Like, I was upset and frustrated because I got dragged into that stupid fight and I got injured in it, or injured as a result of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Anyway, and yeah, I got injured as a result of it, and I did not like that, and I was very unhappy and even a little ashamed of that. And so I told my students, I was like, look, the only way you're ever going to stop someone from talking is if they're dead. And I wanted them to think about that. I didn't want them to take that as me making a resounding friggin' how you say, like I'm not promoting gun violence, by saying this. I am, as a matter of fact, promoting the exact opposite, because I was like, you would be in way worse trouble, and it would go so much worse for you than it had gone for them, and you will have still failed at teaching them a lesson, because now they're dead and they're less lesson learnable than they were before. Because they, like, how many of y'all be learning lessons after you're dead? Not many. And especially if it's a lesson that resulted in your death, like, how many people are like, yeah, I'm going to learn that one. That one seems like, no, like, you're just going to be pissed off at the dude who killed you. Anyway, so I thought I was making it very clear that, like, number one, I'm being sarcastic about this kill them part. Because I do not propose it as a solution, number one. And number two, like, not only do I, not support the gun violence and stuff, I think it's dumber than the hand-to-hand violence. And my students should know that by that point in the semester, and should know, like, where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to teach them, what I'm trying to show them. Because there was some good lessons in there, like, hey, you can't control other people, can't control what they say, what they think, what they do. You cannot control it. Anyway, so, yeah, well, freshmen didn't pay the frick attention. They didn't pay the frick attention, and they took the exact wrong message from what I had said. So that was frustrating, and I was frustrated by that. This is number one. The second bit is even more frustrating, because they reported, and then my principal went out of his way to verify this, that he said almost all the students attested to the fact that I had in class said, I'm going to hell, who else is going to hell? And he said that I said this as if it were like the first thing that came to my mind when I was teaching this lesson, like, hey, we're all going to hell, right? Who's going to hell with me? I'll see you there, you know, which is not how I would have approached this, because I told him, I'm like, oh, well, we were talking about a book. Some of you may be familiar with The House on Mango Street, which is a really great book, and I thought that I was choosing something that it would appeal. I've got a number of Hispanic students in that class, and this is a book written by a Hispanic woman about her thoughts on her family, her feelings on her family, where they've come from, where they are, and like how she feels and how she felt growing up as a Hispanic woman in America. You know, and so like perspective, interesting, awesome things. And we were studying, the book is semi-autobiographical. And so like when you're studying tone with freshmen, it's really good to be like, okay, the book is semi-autobiographical, so we could pretty well substitute the narrator's tone for the author's. And you won't have to do that extra level of digging where you're like, okay, well, this is what the narrator said, but the narrator and the author are not the same person, and so you have to look more deeply for a different level of tone, you know. So anyway, I'm teaching this, and it is one of the first stories that we read, where she talks very openly. She's like, I'm going to hell. The narrator says this. I am going to hell. Now, why would a narrator say that? Like, it seems a terrible thing to be like, I'm definitely going to hell, right? Yeah, well, she said it because she felt... Okay, blow up the creepers. Yeah. Blow up the creeper. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I don't even know where you're coming from. Why are there so many mobs in here? This is like mob spawner galore. What the frick? Like, is there a spawner in here? First of all, number one. Number two, like, oh, hey, dripstone, yay. Yeah, you know it's called dripstone. I know you're thinking it's something else, but really it's dripstone. We all are agreed on this point. Dripstone it is. Anyway, okay. Did I break any? My armor's not doing so hot. Okay. Good thing I'm getting lots of iron. Anyway, I gotta make more torches, which is fine, because I've got stuff to do that with. Perhaps more than I need, even. Anyway. So, there we go. Boop. We'll just go with this until we've got a full stack. There it is. Okay. Full stack of torches. La-da-dee-da. Anyway, so, yeah. The narrator of the story says that she's going to hell because she has an aunt who is sick, and she has done something mean to this family member. And in Hispanic culture, you know, like, family is everything. Like, and so, like, to a certain extent, like, yes, the author does feel like she's going to hell, but also, more than anything, if you've read The House on Mango Street, Cisneros, the author, her prose have a very like unique poetic style, is really enjoyable. I would really highly suggest the book. It's a good book, well worth the read. It's very short. It's written in vignettes, very small snapshots of, miniature scenes from this woman's life. Anyway, and some of them are very telling. And quite frankly, I would think that if any student were to report any portion of that book that we read in class, there's a story where the girls, someone donates a bunch of women's shoes, high-heeled shoes. And these girls who all have roughly the same size feet, so they're sisters and cousins, but they're all young, underage girls. And they get all these women's high-heeled shoes, and they get this wild idea, like, we're going to put on these shoes, we're going to go out walking around the town. And they do, and then all of a sudden, grown men, are looking at them as sexual objects, as something they hadn't experienced before, and they didn't know how to feel about it. Like it was a little exciting at first, but then it very quickly was terrifying, and they didn't know what to think, and eventually, they get rid of the shoes, is how the story ends. And I thought if anybody were to report something that we read, it would be that, because I use that as an opportunity for the girls to have a moment to say, like, because I always ask the girls, like, hey, do you notice how boys look at you? And the girls are like, do we ever? And then we get to talk about some of those issues that otherwise don't get brought up. And girls get to say, like, hey, we notice, and, like, don't make the mistake of thinking that every time we are dressed nicely or dressed in a way that seems to you to be in any way, shape, or form provocative, that it's not necessary, that it doesn't have anything to do with you necessarily. So, like, quit making it weird, because we're trying to not be weird about it, And it's a great moment for the girls, usually, but also sometimes the boys really take exception, where they're like, hey, I'm not a creep. And you're like, I didn't say you were a creep. I just need you to understand the girl's lived experience, because, like, understanding the lived experience of other people is a valuable thing to do. Like, do it as often as you can. Like, just understand other people, where they come from, how they feel, and why. Anyway, so I thought that it would be that. But no, it was this story where she says, I'm going to hell, right? And so I was asked, did I say I'm going to hell, who's going to hell? And at the time I was like, no, I don't think that's what I said. And then the principal was like, I checked with the entire class, and they said that that's exactly what you said. I was like, well, if they say I said it, then I must have said it. Like, I don't think I said it, but if they say I said it, then whatever. Like, it's not, like, I'm not trying to... Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm not trying to be contrarian or anything. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Like, obviously, if that's what they say I said, then it might be what I said. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that was a very uncomfortable conversation with my principal, because then he's asking me all this stuff about my class and how it's going and stuff, and he's asking, like, how often we get distracted or off topic, and I have a student in there who, like, loves to go off topic. And I don't mind indulging, especially because it's a student who's probably going to be one of my honors students someday. And so, like, I'm indulging their intellectual curiosities, which, I'm one of those teachers who's more likely, Like, you know that you've had teachers who like to go off on tangents, and when teachers go off on tangents, a lot of students are like, yay! And the yay is for one of two reasons. Either A, you're excited because you're a student who doesn't want to do work, and so when the teacher is off doing a tangent, you know that there can't be an assignment attached to it because this is not something that's sitting in their lesson plan. So yeah, you can be a yay student for that reason, or you could be a yay student because you know you're about to hear something real. You know, you're about to listen to someone who's not going to bullcrap you, who's not going to tell you things just, you know, just to say them, but they're going to actually try to answer an honest question with an honest answer, which is not always something that you get when you're in high school. That's why, like, I take the approach that I take with my classes, where I'm like, hey, my students deserve honesty. I'm going to be as honest with them as I can. And I really and truly intend that. It's not just, you know, it's not just a slogan. It's not just empty words. It's not just an idea that I heard somewhere and was like, yeah, that'd be cool. You'd sit backwards on a chair and be like, come on, kids, tell me what's the real deal. What's the real happy haps? You know, like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not. I'm just trying to be someone who, like, because you figure the greatest. Okay. You figure some of the greatest educational opportunities you will have as an educator. Now, if you're a good educator, you'll know how to get students interested in things that they might not otherwise be interested in. And we all know teachers who are great at that. Guess what? That's hard to do with every little thing. You know, and you will remember teachers being capable of doing that, but in actuality, they're not capable of doing that every single day. No teacher is. And I've met some wonderful, amazing teachers, but I guarantee you, like, the best among them are not capable of making it freaking magical every single day, at least not magical on that level. But, you know, I try to, you know, be as good to my students as I can possibly be, but, you know, like, it's a struggle. Anyway, so, regardless, yeah, I get hauled into the office to talk about, like, did I or did I not say I'm going to hell? And it's like, of all the things to get hauled in for, like, I probably, like, if there's a hell, I'll probably be there. Like, first of all, if music has references to Satan in it, I am much more likely to enjoy that music. Why? Because if you listen to Jesus music, it's freaking boring and mediocre and awful. I'm sorry, I did not invent Jesus music. I did not invent how awful it is. It's awful. I'm sorry. But it's true. That is what it is. And anyway, there we go. So boom, there that is. Anywho's, it's yeah. So I try to be that guy. Who's, like, you know, not so I can be a cool teacher. It's just that, like, I remember when I was in school and adults would be faker than fake with us. And when you're a teenager, you can see fake from a mile away. That's the thing about teenagers. This is the reason people don't like them. Is they're like, oh, teenagers with their smart mouths. Yeah, that's because a lot of the things they say are actually reasonably intelligent. And, like, you know, they're not just they're no longer comfortable with you just being like, well, because I'm your mom, that's why, like they have figured out that that is bullcrap, and that they should expect more. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then that makes you uncomfortable. But like, they are becoming the people that they will be as adults, and they are realizing that adults can talk a lot of bullcrap, which, like, if you are an adult, you're like, yeah, no one talks more bullcrap than adults. Like, we corner the market on that business. It's true. We do. We're like good at it and stuff. Anyway. So, yeah, I was so offended that me trying to be the teacher who, like, doesn't give you the bullcrap version, but tries to actually answer your honest questions and tries to do things in a genuine way, like, that backfired on me. Because it's never backfired on me. More often than not, I get students who are like, thank you. Like, thank you for... Because half of it is like, thank you for taking us seriously as human beings. Which you may or may not believe me when I tell you this, but, like, when I was a kid, I remembered people being all bullcrappy and stuff, and, like, being all fakey fake. And I remember what it was like, and I remembered how much I hated it. And I promised myself, I was like, if I'm ever a teacher, if I'm ever in this type of position, I am not going to be fake. Like, I'm just not going to do it. And then I didn't, like, and haven't. Anyway. And I didn't do it through, like, sitting backwards on the chair. I'm a big old doofus. Like, I'm a huge nerd. I'm an eccentric. I'm a weird freaking guy. And, like, and my students see that, and they're like, yeah, he is. He definitely is. And I don't make any excuses for myself. I don't make it, like, I don't apologize for, like, oh, I'm sorry that I was weird just now. Like, no. I am who I am. Take it or leave it. Like, because I will take you as you are. Like, that's part of my agreement with y'all. But then you gotta give me the same. You gotta, give me the same respect, which, for the most part, students have always been willing to do. They're like, oh, I could be actual with a, I could be actually real with an adult. And yeah, I mean, at a certain point, someone's got to start being real with these kids, because they will be adults soon. And, like, what do we want? Do we want them to just be bitter and jaded and be like, oh, everyone lies? And, like, because that is how they will be if that's how we treat them, And, and the funny thing is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is I wasn't upset. Like, I was upset with why the person went to the principal's office, because it seemed like that could have been very easily handled. They could have just asked me, and I'd have been like, oh, no, not like that. Oh my God, no, sorry. Like, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. Jeez, no. I would have apologized then and there. For real, like, I don't mean to hurt people, and I don't mean to, like, hurt people's belief systems and whatnot, but, like, that's not even what I was trying to do. I was just trying to generate interest in a story, with, about someone for whom, like, family is key, and, reading it with students, very many of them who come from a similar background, and I thought like we could generate something and talk about it. But like I will admit it was very scattershot. I was in pain from having like re-aggravated an old knee injury, and like, you know, I wasn't feeling good. My adrenaline was still pumping, and I was pissed off that I even had to get involved. I was angry that that fight even happened. So dumb. And yeah, just incredibly dumb. Anyway, I think it's one of the reasons why I definitely should not be a famous person ever, because I will blow it in a week. Like, that is factually accurate. I will blow that crap. Like, it's not gonna last. Because any goodwill that I have, like, I will just take and like squander on, you know, statements that nobody but me agrees with. That's how I do, apparently. Anyway, so yeah, people, like, and the most frustrating thing about it was that, like, in my other classes, I have people who have known me for the same length of time, you know, just since the beginning of this semester. They've not known me for very long. My drama kids, my honors kids, but my drama kids and my honors kids get it. They're like, oh, okay, this guy is like, he's coming at us from a different angle, from a different way, and he's trying to be genuine and he's trying to be real, but at the same time, he's not trying to change himself to be real to a group of teenagers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because that is bullcrap when people do that. Like, you know, I told my students this week, I was like, look, I didn't get into this to become friends with a bunch of teenagers, because if I did, then like, you should probably just report that to the police, because that's creepy, you know? Like, I'm sorry, I'm a grown man. Like, I don't need to be like, I want to be friends with teenagers. Like, that's not why I'm in it. I mean, granted, like, I do build a lot of very special relationships with teenagers, but I also recognize, like, from the relationships I had with my own teachers, you know, like, when was the last time I spoke with my teachers? Not recently. And they were very special to me at that time, but like, then you move on with life, and the teacher is a training wheel. Like, you know, there are all these quotes and stuff that, like, the point of being a teacher is to have a kid not need a teacher anymore. And yeah, that is true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It is true. The end game for teaching is to not need to teach anymore. But then there will be a whole new generation that needs teaching. So like, that's how you remain in business. Like, each generation, you hope to educate them to the point where they can go out in the world and not need you to be there for them. And then along come a whole bunch of new kids that you will forge that same relationship with. And the funny thing is that, like, you know, as a teacher, you will forget people. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, people that you really like, people that you made an impact for them, they made an impact for you, but like, you'll see them and you'll be like, wait, do I know you? And they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so hurt right now. and that part of it sucks, because I'm the worst at that. That is like my Achilles heel, is remembering people. I am so bad at it. I'm the worst. Anyway, but yeah, I felt so betrayed at the time, and I was so angry that that someone would betray me like that. Not that they would report me, but that they would skip over me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. skip over me and go over my head immediately without ever talking to me and without ever knowing how I felt about the situation, or without even giving me an opportunity to apologize, because I would have, and I thought all my students knew that like, if I say something that hurts your feelings, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I will, like, I stir the pot a lot. This is very much a male teacher thing. There's a difference between male and female teachers. There are female teachers who like to stir the pot. It's not strictly a, gender divide, but it does seem to be. I love stirring the pot because I love introducing students to ideas that they wouldn't otherwise encounter on their own. And I love making them think and just challenging them and just being like, hey, this is how you're thinking. This is what you're feeling. Okay, well, what if that was not even remotely true? Just calling things into question and making it difficult for them, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, because it's 7 from this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Anyway, so the part that hurt me the most was not that someone reported, and I even told them that, and I was like, look, if something I said hurt you, like, yeah, report it. Like, I shouldn't be allowed to hurt you. That's not how we should be operating. But I did express that, like I'm trying to be real with people, and I'll apologize where I need to, and I'll, because when you're actively stirring up controversy, you can really hurt some people's feelings, and I never mean to do that, but I do from time to time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I apologize. I've apologized many times, and people have been walked away fine, understanding me and me understanding them, but yeah, so I don't ever get to know which student it was that said this, that went and reported me. And it seems so, like, not a big deal, Like, I'm going to hell. Well, a lot of people are going to hell if anyone's religion is to be believed. Like, I've talked about it on this channel. Like, people are going to hell. It's like, the reason hell exists is so people can go there and suffer for the terrible things they've done, including making children feel bad in school. So, yeah. Anyway. Promise I'm not trying to be a jerk about any of this, but it is what it is. And I just have a tough time feeling good about, oh, I got a bow. Cool. I just have a tough time feeling good about how that went, because I feel like that student may still be out there harboring ill feelings. And the funny thing is that, like, one of the students in that class was like, how I actually found out about it was that one of them came up to me and was like, hey, I had your back today. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, when I got called in, I totally had your back. I was like, called in? What is this called in? Like, I don't know why anyone would need to be called in. What are we calling people in for? And he's like, don't worry, I told them all good things. I don't want you to get fired. And I'm like, fired? What the frick? So, anyway, yeah. I was not, it was not a near fireable offense. It was like barely a near reprimandable offense, and I didn't even get that. I just gotta, like, careful what you say to freshmen. I'm like, yeah, I know. Apparently it was even more careful than I thought. But anywho's it's people. Yeah, and that was really rough. And I really had a hard time with it, mainly because that same day that I found all this out, and then I get hauled in the principal's office and to talk about all this stuff. And yeah, I get hauled in the principal's office, and I already have an idea of, like, what it's gonna be about. 1, 2, 3, 4. I already had an idea of what it's going to be about, and I'm just, heading it off at the pass, telling the principal, like, okay, students have kind of led on as to what this is, and I'm telling you right now, I didn't say exactly what I'm purported to have said, because you let a freshman hear it, and to hear somebody say, like, only if you kill someone are they going to be able to not talk crap. And then, end the discussion right there, and have them think, like, he's advocating for gun violence. And it's like, no, dingus. I'm saying that if you do that, you're in even worse trouble, but that there's nothing that you can do physically that can stop someone from talking crap. And the fact is that, like, that's a situation for diplomacy. Pull out your diplomacy skills. Learn to talk to other people, to listen to other people, and to resolve conflicts without fists, resolve them with words. Anyway, at least I thought so. And that's what I was trying to get across. And I know that I could have said it just like that. And you know what? Here's the thing. I have given that talk. This is my 7th year teaching, so I've given it once every semester, so that was probably my 13th time giving that talk, and I've never been reported on that talk either. And the teacher right next door to me was giving the exact same talk. Well, not the exact same talk, obviously. He didn't get called in. But he was giving a talk with similar intent. Like, the intent was good. The delivery was not there, especially not for these young people who completely misconstrued. Well, one of them. Because, like, all the rest of them were like, no, I knew what you were saying. And that's even what the principal said. Because, yeah, the portion of that conversation where he was actually talking with me about what I said in my classroom, shoot somebody in the face so they don't talk crap part, which is not even how I said it. But that portion was very short because apparently there were multiple students who were like, no, he got completely taken out of context there. That is not what he said. That is not how that went down. And I appreciate the students who backed me up on that. But the thing that really sucked is because, I said within myself, I was like, I'm not going to be upset that somebody's called me out. Like, that's fine. Like, I've been thinking that I get called out for years now. And my wife has been terrified that I get called out for years now. But, I knew that I could support what I had said with good intentions, if nothing else. And quite frankly, I did have plenty else other than good intentions. But, like, life is funny, and not funny, haha, funny, like, hey, smell this. Does this smell funny to you? Like that. Anyway, people. Yeah, so that's a little bit of my week. I know I didn't explain it in quite the traumatic terms that I would have explained it otherwise. Oh, and to add insult to injury, because there was insult added upon injury here, very much so. So I was here we go. Yeah. So let's talk about adding insult to injury, because I was still hobbling around from my knee injury, still not feeling good in that respect. And then I started getting sick in the middle of the week, or in the early part of the week, and then by the middle of the week I felt really awful. And then because my knee was hurting, I was favoring one leg, and because I was favoring one leg, I got bursitis in my other hip, which is, quite painful. And so yeah, all of a sudden I've got, knee pain and bursitis. It like is a whole thing just walking around. I'm like, ow, pain, ouchie, ouchie. And then I'm getting a cold, and I'm having a sore throat, and I'm starting to lose my voice, which, like, losing your voice is one of the worst things that can happen to you when you're a teacher. But if you're the drama teacher and a teacher of a freshman English class, like, those are times when you need to be able to do your diaphragmatic breathing and be able to have a yelling voice that is louder than a classroom full of freshmen, which I can do. With proper diaphragmatic support on most days, I can out yell a drama class, which those nerds are loud, and I can out yell a freshman class, which those nerds are unnecessarily loud. And so I'm telling you, people, like, it was rough, like compounded. Everything was compounded by the fact that I just didn't feel well. I didn't feel good at any point in the week. Anyway, people, I had a real crap week, and now I've got a 3-day weekend, and we'll see what I do with it. I'll probably do something with it. It's not going to be nothing. But look, I started a whole new area. A whole new area. A whole place I can mine away. And people won't steal my crap or touch my stuff or say that they can take my things away. Anyway, regardless, people, it has been a delight, a pleasure. If you've actually listened to this, I'm sorry. I apologize. Feel like this entire thing, it could have been a better story. I could have done a better job of storytelling it. But no, you got stuck with this guy telling it in the longest, most drawn-out, boringest way possible. Ugh. Why? Why do we put up with it, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, hey. But if you made it all the way to the end, thank you. Thank you to you. Anyway, people, that is it for this one. We will see you in the next one. Okay. And bye.